And I thought, what will I say about them? And this book, written by Jimmy Stephenson, my first cousin, my nicest first cousin. I like him a lot.
Thanks for that.
This is a quotation that grandfather obviously wrote, and it goes as follows, and I think it's worth listening to. And it is as follows. As we approached Queen Street Bridge, I became more certain we were heading for Blackhall Street and a dismissal. But as we came abreast of the bridge, no order came from still silent marching figures in front. Obviously grandfather was at the rear. We were now on Usher's Island and our bewilderment was intensified. Could we be heading for the King's Bridge? I thought. In despair, I gave it up and marched on with the rest until we were abreast of the Mendicity. Just then, Sean, who was Captain Houston, the officer in charge, turned right about, faced us and shouted, "Company, left wheel, seize this building and hold it in the name of the Irish Republic."
Hooray!
So that's not the end. So you can imagine this 21-year-old man just trudging along with rifles. What they were doing that in Dublin under the Union Jack, I just can't fathom. And how brave they must have been. And he then goes on to say, we were down under the cover of the window sills in a flash, and for a whole while lay there stunned by the appalling din as the machine guns continued to rake the front of the building without ceasing. It seemed as if some giant steel whip was lashing the stonework with a tremendous vindictiveness. Now, I remember my grandfather and my grandmother very well, and my memory of Paddy Stephenson was he was the most kindest man I knew. He never said a bad word. I remember asking him one day, "Grandfather, how many English fellas did you shoot?" And he said back to me, "How many do you think?" And I thought, you didn't shoot anyone, did you? And I remember being ill on occasion and in a lot of trouble on other occasions, and Mary Stephenson, Kilmartin, and my grandfather looked after me extremely well. So I'm not going to go any longer, and it was a great privilege to be allowed to address you all. Unfortunately, the oldest Stephenson of Kilmartin and Stephenson of London is in England, and he asked me to make this speech with his brothers. Thank you very much for listening.
So I've been asked to say a few words for the Kilmartins. For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm the youngest of all the grandchildren of Paddy Kilmartin. Keelan McCann is my name. And I thought what I'd do, because there's so many Kilmartins here, is actually go through and introduce who everyone is. So my grandfather, Paddy Kilmartin, had 9 children from 2 marriages. And we have 2 of those children here today. His youngest son, Colin. Is Colin there?
Hiding down the corner.
That's Colin, his youngest son, who's married to Vera. And then the other person who is my mother is Claire, who's his youngest child, is also here. Claire, there you go. And what I counted up is that there were 19, he had 19 grandchildren. And today we have 5 of those here today. We have all the way from Canada, Paul Kilmartin, which is fantastic. We have David Kilmartin, who lives in Ireland, but I think who is the son of Colin. But I think we should praise him. He helped gather an awful lot of people and get today actually running. The next is Fiona, who is the daughter of Colette, who's the eldest daughter of Paddy Kilmartin, and she's here with her husband Eric, and they've come the whole way from Connecticut for today. The next is Don Kilmartin, who is the son of John Kilmartin, who was the middle child of...
Youngest. What? He was the youngest boy, John.
Oh, was he? I've got that wrong. Okay, sorry. The youngest boy. I thought Colin was younger than John, but I've got that wrong.
He loved that.
Oh, he loved that. Okay. Anyway, and Don's here today, and then there's the fifth is me, who was the son of Claire, and I'm here with my German wife Sandra, who's sitting down. So what I counted up just there is that, so we had 19 grandchildren, and there are 33 great-grandchildren, and 4 or 5 great-great-grandchildren of Paddy Kilmartin. 4 or 5.
There's 5, yeah.
Okay, so of the great-grandchildren here today, we have Fiona's kids, who is Reed, Charlotte and Lindsay. Put your hands up. Okay, we have, of David's children, we have Logan and Maya.
Put your hands up.
Put your hands up. Where's Logan?
Logan's in. Oh, they're taking photos.
Hi. Very good, Logan. Okay, from Don, we have Rachel and Neil. Where are you? You're there. Okay, and then there's 4 from my side. We have Constantine, Ella, Helena, and Liesl, who are sitting there. So that's all the Kilmartins that are here today. Now, when I was coming over yesterday, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be fantastic to go back 100 years and sit down at a table with Paddy Kilmartin, his wife, or sister, whose name's gone out of my name, Mamie, and Paddy Joe Kilmartin, to sit down at the table with them and tell them 2 things. One is that what the brave thing they're about to undertake at the start of on the Easter weekend will be something that would have such a profound and long-lasting effect on the culture of Ireland, so much so that in 100 years people would still be celebrating and talking about it. And the second thing, I think, would be, I think they'd be totally amazed to see that today we've about 50 people here from all corners of the earth come back to celebrate this day and this weekend just for them. And I think if we actually said it to them, they'd sit there and they'd laugh and they'd go, "You're having us on, this would never happen in the future," which I think is a lovely thought. But one thing I think that they'd be very happy with is that there'd be seeing that so many people are here from so many parts of the world, they'd very much want that a lot of relationships would be rekindled here today, and that people would stay in touch and use this afternoon as a great time to get back in touch and the family to get together. So what I say is to raise your drinks. Raise your drinks to Paddy, Mamie and Paddy Joe, that all your dreams come true, and they did.
I'm just going to tell you a lot of them don't know about
And one other thing, we've just got a photograph, and David's going to talk about it there.
folks, if you can just have your attention. Kiona's there, down the back. This is a garrison photo of the GPO. Folks, can we have your attention down the back?
Paul.
Can we have a bit of... This photo was taken in 1938, and it's of those who were still alive from the GPO. Now, obviously, it's not the full garrison because some of them obviously died in the Civil War, etc. So in this garrison photo is Paddy Kilmartin and Paddy Stephenson. For those who may want to buy one, you can get it in, I think it's the Gallery of Photography in Temple Bar, and they're about €50. And they're pretty good, hanging on over your mantelpiece. So Paddy Kilmartin is in the back row here. Let's see where he is. There. Paddy Kilmartin is here in the back row, and Paddy Stephenson here beside Sean T. O'Kelly, who was to be one of the presidents of Ireland. So there you go. Thank you. Very good.
Well done.
Jimmy. Hi, how are you? Happy Easter. I'm making great. I got these kind of to get down the stairs.
You gonna do that, or
Jimmy? I think he's too shy.
do you want me to do it, or
Can you
help each
remember
other?
the names? Yeah.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah. I forgot to introduce Stevenson.
Simone.
Sorry, Sorry, everybody again. One second.
Just hold it.
We won't keep you too long.
Is it film? Okay.
I forgot to introduce the Stevenson. That's because I can't remember their names. But Robert here, or Jimmy, do you want to do it? Robert will do it. Robert.
Well, we'll do it between us. We'll do it all anyway.
Fine.
Because we're all so old, the Stevensons. We're sort of starting to forget names. Speak for yourself. But anyway,
And actually, you're all clones of each other as well.
Peter,
Yeah.
Peter Stevenson. I'm Robert. So who else is
Peter.
there here? This is here. Come over here. Come on.
Jim. Where's David?
David,
David
the
and-
son of Desmond, and his son, who is Luke.
All right, Luke.
Come on,
Who
Luke.
is a splitting image of Desmond, actually.
Yes.
So imagine Desmond.
Count.
That's just like that. There's Andrew over here. Come over here, Andrew, and his son. And his other son is engaged in a very important appointment at the Shelburne Hotel. So this is Andrew, who is son of Daniel. Who else? Any other Stevens?
Count.
Helen Stevenson. Helen Stevenson, who is the matriarch at this stage. Helen Stevenson and her nephew Celt. That's Simone, my sister. And the Celt is Simone's son. Who else have we got? Who's the other Stevensons in the room?
Can I just click? Where's Jimmy?
Jimmy, that's Paddy's son. Who else is there? Jimmy, where's Jimmy? Jimmy, come
I have to take. Can I take photographs?
So that's it. Yeah.
Can you change it onto photographs,
I'll
Robert?
do it. Here, I'll do it. So you can.
Count.
Cal, maybe you take it. Or you
No,
go in
Cal
there.
should be in
You
it.
go in there. I'm going to get to photograph all the Stevensons actually. Can we bring Helen over as well? Could you help Helen?
That's the previous one.
Okay, back a long time.